How do you end up at Heartlight?
I think just moving schools was really overwhelming. I just wasn't getting along with my parents. I started getting depressed. I started seeking self-worth in other people, sending boys nudes, tried to commit suicide 3 times. At that point in my life, I was done with it.
Okay, May, thank you so much for coming in to sit down and talk. You were 14 years old from Fort Worth.
Yes, sir.
How do you end up at Heartlight?
I grew up with amazing parents. They're my best friends. My dad worked really hard to get me where I am today.
Wow.
And it also happened that with those sacrifices, he wasn't around much, and I think that just made me feel not as close to my father because he wasn't around as much. Public school was not the best thing. Public middle school is hard.
Yeah.
And, I started losing friends. I got in verbal fights, physical fights. It just wasn't a good fit for me, so I begged and begged my parents to move me to my sister's school.
Yeah.
Because I had more friends there. I think just moving schools was really overwhelming, and I just wasn't getting along with my parents. I started getting depressed. I think mainly because of, I am a middle child, so I do spend a lot of time alone, and it wasn't the best. And I missed my mom and my dad a lot. And I didn't spend much time with my siblings, which I so should have. And so basically I started seeking self-worth in other people. I ended up basically at my new school sending boys nudes, just really wrecking my life in a thought that maybe I could get some attention from someone, because at that point I basically had no friends who I thought would understand, and I had the best support system around me, but I was just failing to see it, and so I basically wrecked my whole reputation to that school before I even got there, and so my dad really wanted to have a relationship with me, so he took me to New York with a promise that he wouldn't work the whole time, and there ended up being a work emergency. And there was Corona, so everything shut down. He was having to figure that out. And at that point, I saw that as no, my father doesn't want me anymore. He doesn't care about me. Yeah. And that was just basically my last straw. I tried to run away. I called my mom saying that she needed to divorce him. He's super angry, when really I think I was just more mad at myself because I couldn't love my father the way he loved me.
Wow.
And I got super depressed. February, started self-harming. It was kind of like a last cry for help, and nobody noticed, so that really sucked. Tried to commit suicide 3 times in February through March, which my parents don't actually know about, but I want them to know about all the things I've been going through so they can better help me in my life going forward.
They don't know that now?
They do know I was self-harming. They do know I was so depressed. I was suicidal.
Yeah.
I just don't think they would know that I would take it that far.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, I was done with it.
Wow. You're 14.
Yes, sir.
And you're done with it.
Yeah.
It seems like you've not rehearsed that story, but you know that story. Because you've gone over and over and over in your head.
I've had to pay a lot of prices for that story. Yeah.
Okay, so where do you think where that starts? I mean, you were in public school getting into fights, so then you're going to another school. And so you're sending pics to the people at the new school. So you've jumped out of one school, ruining the other one.
Yeah.
Now you're getting deeper in this hole of, and
just a whole spiral of events.
And it was, there's no way out of this thing?
Yeah, I was done with it. I was losing friends. I was basically shutting out the friends who have been with me my whole life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, talking about that now, that person was crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I could tell it's a little bit hard for you to talk about that. It's almost like you're holding back tears or holding back. It's just hard for it to come out and to say that. Why is it so hard?
I mean, I just think all the suppressed emotions of just guilt and shame and anger, just because I'm not that girl anymore.
Yeah.
And it does sometimes bring up shame of who that girl was and the decisions she made. But, I mean, I wouldn't trade anything. I've learned so many things from that.
Wow.
I mean, I've had so many different experiences. Like, I've been through hell and back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 14.
Yeah.
Well.
Hopefully, no more times.
Yeah. Okay. So you come to Heartlight. Was it a shock?
I didn't know where I was going at the previous program until like the day before I was leaving, and I didn't get much information about it. So I was pretty nervous. Yeah.
Wow. So when you got here, how long did it take to make that transition into a new place where you didn't have to poop in a hole and pee on the side of the road and sleep on the ground and eat beans and rice the whole time?
I think when I first got here, I was still super scared. I wasn't used to this new environment at all. I mean, that 3 months rocked my whole world, and
yeah,
it was so weird having all these things now, like a bed. I had 3 meals a day. I had staff who actually cared about me. There were girls there who were going through the same thing I was, and I think it just took me a while to realize that, like, these people do want to help me. They're not trying to hurt me. They're trying to get me home.
So what do you see as the biggest change that's happened in you?
I'm definitely not as depressed anymore.
Yeah.
It's great not to be as depressed anymore, actually be happy to wake up in the morning. And, like, a newfound love for, like, my parents, especially my dad.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool. Where do you think you'd be if you wouldn't have come here?
Probably dead. Yeah. It would have sucked. Yeah. I know what that feeling is now. I had a friend commit suicide, and it was really hard. And I was like, wow, that's what have happened, like, to everyone around me, whether they, like, closely knew me or not. Everybody would have to remember me as I was, not who I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. It's quite a story. And my prayer is you continue to get through this and kind of have that new opportunity again as you go back home, hopefully to new friends and to a whole bunch of friends. I know you've learned a lot about relationships here.
Definitely.
And it seems like you have a lot of good friends here.
Yeah.
I know people love you to death here. I mean, I know that for sure.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Yeah.